It's just perspective, objectivity. You still have all of your choices in front of you. I just want to add some things for you to consider coming to the answer that you want. This is my belief, and Jeff and I have talked about this. There's no sense on having, quote unquote, the right strategy if you're not effective at influencing, persuading, and leading somebody to your point of view. Influence and persuasion strategies, having that type of personality is far more important than the strategies. You've seen this many times before, and I'll tell you is that one thing that's I find challenging about our fitness community, from my perspective, the leaders, they have the same challenges in life as you and I do. They have the same biases. They're getting over the same things of being bullied or feeling significant. The thing is that they just have a certain body, or they just double down, triple down, and quadruple down on strategies, right? With no emphasis on how to be influential and persuasive to sell their point of view. They just make it black or white, which is very common of all of us who attract to fitness sometimes. And so as long as they have quote unquote logic on their side, they have science on their side, they end it there. Facts don't matter, and and just to give you something to consider, you might be science-minded and say, yes, they do. Well, all scientists don't agree. They don't perceive all of the data out there to come to the same conclusion, and that's certainly true in our fitness environment, right? It isn't like all science people agree on it. So if they don't agree, let me take it to the practical world. Why is it that a person can use an inferior strategy and then get amazing results? Now, before you think it's drugs or genetics, maybe, I guess, I don't know, think a little bit more. And then why can a person have an amazing set of scientific strategies and produce inferior results? And they may say it's because I don't take drugs and I have poor genetics, right? But again, those are just perceptions of what the outcome is. It's really not based on science. It's really based on emotion. One thing that there's a big challenge with most of us, especially we label ourselves as scientific, logical thinkers. We use rationale and reasoning. I think that that belief, I just want you to have something to consider. If that's getting everything you really want in life, then continue thinking that. But it's my belief, we as human beings are really emotional. We really make emotional decisions, whether we think we're science-minded or not. With that, if I'm building a rock solid case for something for you to at least consider, there are many ways to get from point A to point B. And sometimes you need to have that empathy, understanding that connection, and those influence and persuasion strategies to connect to the person you're trying to serve, to get them to the promised land, to get them to point A to point B. There's no sense drawing a line in the sand on something that they're not buying, that you're selling. Either find a strategy that works for them or get better at what you're selling. All right. But the question of why can't they just do what's the best thing, like they've got the problem? No, a leader. And if you're in the fitness industry, you are a leader, right? A leader takes responsibility for both sides of the conversation, both sides of the relationship. They don't say, I just throw it out there and they got it wrong. Let's see, they don't have results. No, a leader says, I'm going to do my best to guide them in the right direction. And it may take 1, 2, 50 different approaches, but I'm the leader. I'm in charge of this relationship, and I will eventually get them there. Right? It's like legs. Oh, my legs don't work. What are you going to, they're not growing. What do? Just do 2 different training strategies and stop? No, you're relentless, right? You try all kinds of different strategies to make it work. All right. Whatever it takes, right? Well, that's, as a leader in fitness, you got to have that mentality and use whatever tools, whether mental, emotional, or strategies, to lead your client to the results that they want. Right? So you have to have that mental, emotional flexibility and use whatever it takes to get them to the results, even if they aren't using, quote unquote, the right strategy. And who knows, with the rapport that you gain and the success that you give them, life is long. All right. It may be 3 months in the process before, hey, that worked. Now let me show you a more effective strategy. Sometimes when we draw that line in the sand between here and now, that's really about us. They're not listening to us. I don't feel significant because I have the right strategy. And I just want you to consider, because really, if it's all about them and you want to get the results, there are many ways to do it. And you can lead them to the quote unquote right strategy over time. If you have that patience and that perspective, and you take it upon yourself to become that kind of leader. And the last thing I just want to say, because I could talk for 3 hours, and this could be a whole afternoon at our 3-day seminar, when I talk to those of us who want to make a life and a living changing people's lives, is that, you know what? It's not the training strategy. It's not the eating strategy. It's not the structure and the discipline that they want. It's not the muscle, and it's not the tight butt, the ripped abs, the loss of body fat. What they want is a feeling, an emotion, control, and they believe that body, that structure is going to get them there. That's your job, to get them to the feelings and emotions that they want, not what you want them to feel. Right? And I hope it's a very long answer.